welcome back. I'm Fitzgerald Lombard, and this is the BBC Book Review. His books, novels, and memoirs are attempts to convey the wisdom of African systems of thought. Paul Stoller is an anthropologist and novelist who teaches anthropology at Westchester University. He has conducted ethnographic research in the Republic of Niger in West Africa. His most recent book is a bestseller described as an ingeniously constructed springboard for a criticism of anthropology. It is titled The Taste of Ethnographic Things, The Senses in Anthropology. Mr. Stoller, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're too kind. Do you mind if I call you Paul?
Not at all.
Excellent. Now, I must say that this was a fascinating read, an absolute delight.
Well, thank you. That's incredibly kind of you to say.
You're welcome. I am very good at disposing praise. Now, what struck me was that this was unlike any ethnography I'd ever read before. What just is it about your approach that makes it so unique?
Well, Fitzgerald, I found that traditional ethnographies provided an objectifying gaze upon their subjects. They looked down on them, almost with a sense of superiority, and only really provided an outsider's perspective. And I realized that this was a result of these traditional conventions. And so by taking on this subjective approach to the genre, I realized that it in fact provided not only more intimacy to the culture and to the people, but also provided more authenticity.
Fascinating. Now, your book has a unique structure of narrative and analysis. Could you elaborate on why you chose to organize the book this way?
Well, I knew after a couple years of my field research that I needed to find a means in order to organize this book. And so I decided that the best way to do it would be to provide a narrative or storytelling approach, but also maintain the traditional methods of my analysis from my scientific research. And so I realized that providing these two pathways, in a sense, to the Songhay people, I could provide two perspectives. Through the storytelling or narrative perspective, I could provide a more intimate look into the people, the relationships, the culture itself. And through the abstract analysis, I could still maintain a sense of intimacy, but at the same time provide that scientific understanding.
Amazing. Now, in your book, you spoke about the necessity of long-term study for anthropological research. Why?
Well, I found that long-term study was absolutely necessary because by studying the Songhay people for an extended period of time, I actually gained their trust, established friendships, established numerous relationships, and through this way it provided a mean of immersion into their culture. And as a result, I not only understood them better, but I could communicate with them on a much deeper level.
Brilliant, 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 yes. Now, would you agree that, in many ways, this book is a manual for anthropologists and that it looks to redefine the scientific processes of anthropological study?
Absolutely. And those weren't my initial intentions. However, when I found that these new conventions of this subjective approach, combining analysis with storytelling, and it worked so well, it provided a sense of being in the culture, I needed to share it with fellow anthropologists.
Yes, that's a very interesting point you make there, and it reminds me of a quote in your book. Do you mind if I read it?
Not at all.
Well, it goes like this. In 1969, my senses were tuned to the otherness, the squalor of Niger. My senses of taste, smell, hearing, and sight entered into Nigerian settings. Now I let the sights, sounds, and smells and tastes of Niger flow into me. What did you mean by that? About the senses flowing into you?
As I said before, through this new approach to the ethnography genre, it provided a more intimate sense into the Songhay culture. And so, in that quote, it really gets into this idea. You see, the Songhay have many ways of communicating with one another. In the West, vision
is the predominant sense. However, this isn't the case with the Songhay people. They use taste, sounds, smells to communicate with one another. And that was something that I learned greatly through the process of immersion.
You, sir, are a delight.
It was an absolute pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining us on the show, Paul. Well, that's all the time we have tonight, folks. Once again, you watched the BBC Book Review. I'm Fitzgerald Lombard, and good night.